Welcome to the Frustration to Freedom podcast. Team Elevate. My name is Mike Bemis, Simplicity Minneapolis, Senior ADC. I got my counterpart here, Jeremy Karja, also Senior ADC at Simplicity Minneapolis. Jeremy, this is the mini series that we're doing. This is number 3. We're talking about, A-tier marketing. What are the 4 kind of A-tier marketing? We're on number 3 right now, working with other professionals. That could be, I could say it would be a CPA, could be real estate, could be other attorneys, maybe estate planning attorney or something like that. So, we have a lot of producers that are very successful, as this is another pillar in their practice, right? Adding more pillars to really get more good clients. So, Jeremy, what's kind of the first step in working with other professionals?
Yeah, Mike. And before I answer that, let me take it back almost 20 years ago when I first learned about this little working with professionals strategy. And I was working at Allianz, and I was talking to an advisor. And basically, the advisor, I started asking him questions like, what do you do for marketing? How do you get clients? And he proceeded to tell me he does his, I think it was like 10 or 15 million a year, all from one source. And that is CPAs. He was actually in an office. He strategically placed himself in an office with 5 CPAs that just gift wrap him prospects all day long. And he did that much production, and a light bulb went off in my head and said, that sounds like a pretty smart, easy way to do business versus so many people scratching and clawing with their B-tier marketing their whole careers. Yeah, Mike, working with professionals is something that it's not an easy thing. You don't just make your one call to a CPA and boom, they're gift wrapping you clients like that. There is a build up. There is a strategy that you need to know. And I think a lot of advisors don't know the strategy. Therefore, that is why most advisors don't have partnerships with CPAs or attorneys or some other professional. So it is a process. It does take some time, but if you're doing the way we teach you, you can get those relationships. You can build those relationships up. So what would you say, Mike, is a good just starting point for these individuals to get their foot in the door with a CPA attorney from your perspective?
Okay, absolutely. And I'll second that. As we talk through this process, it doesn't happen overnight. But if you start this process now, it might be a year or 2 from now, you will start to get referrals from these CPAs or estate planning attorneys. But by doing the work ahead of time, it could be a huge client source for you, really good clients and quality clients. So I would say let's talk about CPAs. I think that's a really hot topic right now, working with CPAs. A couple things is, what's the easiest way to find them? Your existing clients, right? Yes. And so your existing clients. So as you're going through your existing clients, lots of times my producers are going through the tax returns. Well, who is their CPA? And lots of times what you'll find is similarities. You know what? I have these 5 clients that work with this one CPA. Well, guess what? Let's call that CPA and let's say, hey, I just noticed that we have mutual clients. I would love to sit down with you and show you what I do, and so that we're on the same page of how I'm working with your clients, and so that we can be in partnership together.
Love that.
Yep. And then, so when we do that, what do we want? What do we want to bring to that meeting? Well, we want to bring the income for life reports, right? We want to bring the personal financial inventory binders, right? And what you want to do with that CPA, take them out to lunch, meet them at their office, bring in whatever, Panera Bread or something, right, at their office. And you want to show them your process. You want to show them what you do. You want to show them why you're different than the other advisors that's just doing accumulation and managing money, right? And if you show them how much service you put into them with the income for life reports, income gaps, income cliffs, doing the personal financial inventory binders, saying, hey, look at here, I put your stack statement right in here in the binder, right? And what happens a lot of times when you do that, the client says, or the CPA says, you know what? I need to see my numbers, right?
Oh, yeah. I just had actually one of my advisors, Mike, closed $1 million ticket with his CPA. So,
that's fantastic.
That's a tip too. There's a few different ways to get them. Like Mike said, just look the first and easiest spot, your own CPA. The second easiest spot, your client's CPAs and estate planning attorneys, right? And so if you strategically look for that and look for maybe a warm introduction, like you got an A+ client that loves you, we call them, a raving fan. You have a raving fan client, and you just simply ask them, hey, who's your CPA? Who's your attorney that you work with? Do you tell your client, hey, listen, what I like to do with my clients is I like to make sure everything I'm planning and building out for you for your retirement aligns with your other professionals, your other attorneys, your other tax professionals, because we all want to be in alignment there so you can have the best possible retirement you can have and you can achieve. And so you ask for that warm introduction. You say, hey, introduce me, and let's all of us get together and talk about the strategy we're putting out there and make sure it aligns with your other professionals. And then there you go. You have yourself a warm introduction. After you get that warm introduction, then it's very simple question. And that is, hey, CPA, do you eat lunch? And they'll laugh and say,
Yes.
Occasionally when I'm not too busy. And you say, let's do this. I'm going to buy you lunch and I'm going to walk you through what we do for clients. And this is something you can actually just, some of my advisors just make it a goal of sitting down with one advisor a month, or one professional rather a month, estate planning attorney, CPA, whoever. And if you can just sit down with one per month, ask them, do they eat lunch? And then just say, hey, I want to take 15 minutes and show you what I do and how I think it could be a benefit to you and your clients, and give you a kind of stickiness factor where your clients won't want to leave you because you can do all these great things for them. And then you just show them what you do. And like you said, Mike, they will look at it and they'll say, hey, I want to do that. I need to do that. That's great. And then you give them that beautiful personal financial inventory binder and you say, hey, guess what? I'll put these together for all of your A clients. I will do the work and I'll put them together. No obligation. And then if people end up wanting to meet with me and work with me from a retirement planning standpoint, great. If they don't, great. So that's a couple different strategies you can use for marketing and getting there. Mike, what would you say as far as some advisors, they get together with and they have a partnership with a professional, but that professional, they've been working with them for years and they've gotten only a couple referrals over the years. How do you turn that professional, or is that professional somebody they just need to cut off?
I would say the biggest thing to really make this work is we call it a parallel relationship. You have to have a parallel relationship with that professional. And most times that's a monetary relationship.
It is.
Right? And so we're all business owners, right? And this is a capitalistic society. So there's a couple ways to make that parallel relationship. What some of my producers do is sometimes that CPA or estate planning attorney has an insurance license. You can split cases.
Or they get one.
Yep. Or they get one. So you can split cases. When you come on board with Team Element, we're going to talk about how to split those cases. You're doing the most of the work, so I'm saying you should get most of the commission. But for that professional, that's a pretty sweet deal for them, right? The other way to do it is sometimes, and depending on regulations and your licenses and all that stuff, sometimes you can rent space in their office. Right. Or, I have a producer right now that has all their stuff at a table in the lobby of the CPA's office. It has the personal financial inventory binders, has the referral guides on there, marketing materials, the financial professionals book is in there. All that stuff is a little table where they sit and they rent space in the office. And my producer gets 2 to 3 referrals a month, right, from that CPA, because there's a little table that she rents in their office, right?
It's like half a seminar a month for free, Mike. I like the sound of that.
And guess what? The referrals, if more referrals, the rent goes up.
There you go.
Not
simple
too bad.
As that.
So that can be a simple way to create that parallel relationship.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Mike, because think about it. You have a lot of people trying to get the time of that professional, right? They're like any business owner. Who doesn't want a CPA in their back pocket? Who doesn't want an estate planning attorney in their back pocket if you're another professional? But are they going to go with you, or are they going to go with the other person? And I think the differentiator is typically who's bringing me the most revenue, right? I mean, we all are operating businesses. And so if you can show them, I can bring you the most revenue through just simple monetary, obviously splitting the tickets like you mentioned or whatever else that you can do based on your licenses and your state rules. And then also the value. If you can show that I'm not just somebody that comes in there and tries to write an annuity or switch them to my investments, but I give you a whole system of a binder and a process and just that real Godiva high level white glove service, they're going to want to pick you to partner up with versus the other advisor. So
100%. 100%. I think a couple core things, a couple core philosophies around this, and you hit one of them is that, I was just at, one of our top producer, Kiowa trip, and everybody listens to this podcast. I hope you're on our next trip. I hear it's going to be in a really awesome place. But, Jason Jenkins, one of our partners, talks about, with all the studies that come out. And right now, people are more interested in a plan than getting sold any type of product. People are information hungry and want to plan together. And so if you put together an income for life report, you do a personal financial inventory binder for the client, you're actually helping them with a plan and you're showing that financial professional that you're somebody different, right? Yeah. The other thing is, unfortunately, if it's a tax practice, if it's a CPA, if it's a estate planning attorney, I hate to say this in a negative way, but those industries are becoming commoditized in some ways, right? And so if it's a parallel relationship, because if that CPA, that tax practice, that attorney has you as part of their practice, they're adding more value to their clients so they don't go to somebody else, right? So it's a two-way street to benefit the financial professional and benefit the producer, right?
Agreed.
100%. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that understanding that piece of it will again separate you from the other advisor calling them, trying to get in their back pocket. Yeah, I think some of the key takeaways is one, you have to have a strategy on what you're doing. Why do most people not partner with other professionals? They don't have a strategy. They don't know what to do. And the process is very simple. Set a goal, whether it's making sure you have lunch with at least one professional a month, right? Number two, making sure you have a solid process when you sit down with that professional, which our process is pretty simple. Treat them like a client, treat it like a first meeting, show them what you have to offer, show them the binder, show them the income for life software, walk them through, hey, if you were a client, here's what we would do step by step, word for word, just like we do in the first meeting. And a little bit of the second meeting so they can get the full feel. And most likely, they will want to work with you. And over the course of a year, you sit down with 12, rule of 80-20 rule, right? You'll have probably 3 of them that say, I really like what you do and I want to partner. And they start sending you business. And then you'll probably have 1 or 2 that start sending you a prospect every month or 2 or 3 every month. And that's how you really build a stream of professionals sending you business, understanding those key couple pieces. And again, you meet with us, you talk with me and Mike regularly, and we're going to walk you through, hey, try this, try that, tweak this, tweak that. And you make those little tweaks along the way. And all of a sudden you have another big oar in the water, A-tier oar, moving you forward through that ocean at a significant speed if you get this one down good.
100%. I mean, one of my top producers she does all of her business off of servicing her existing clients, which includes referrals and working with professionals. She just now started seminars in her office, but she got to 15, 20 million annuities with not doing seminars. But I will tell you this, it took her 1 to 2 years for those relationships to really develop. And so it's A-tier marketing, but you guys have to understand that it takes time, so that's why we don't just say do one, do multiple, right? But when you get that oar in the water and get that oar really big, it really helps.
Be forward fast.
So
love it.
If you want to know more about working with financial professionals, some of the scripting for phone calls on how to call the estate planning attorneys or the CPAs, book a time with us. Come join Team Elevate. Again, you're going to get Jeremy or myself. You're not just going to get somebody random. And we'll talk about how to develop financial professionals in your practice.
Love it. Let's go.
Let's go.